这道食物有一种记忆的嘛。
No matter how hasty your footsteps are, there is always a particular food that can stop you in your tracks and take you back to your childhood. The dining tables in Macau record the history of time and are engraved with ups and downs. In century-old shops, noisy kitchens, the eyes seeing through delicious food, and the hands creating classics, food is passed down from generation to generation, while the flavor of the small city remains the same. So, when you open Macau, like a menu lasting a century, you can see the growth rings on people's dining tables with the naked eye. A difference in time with the shortest distance in the world may be between a city and a fishing port. At 5 a.m., the city hasn't awakened, but fishing boats have already weighed anchor.
你想報多啲嘅，咁你咪勤力啲咯，即係早啲出去，夜啲回來，咁咪報多啲魚咯。
At 30 years old, Hao Xian has been working on the boat with his father and grandfather for 16 years. Even with the experience of 3 generations, they are still uncertain about how much fish they can catch today. As the fishing boat is heading towards the sea farm, one of the oldest Hakka villages in Macau, Heisha Village, wakes up amid the birds' songs and the fragrance of flowers. This land, covering only 1 square kilometre, is a rare paradise in flourishing Macau.
有水有肥，呢個多嘢都有得吃啦。
On the hillside several hundred meters away, Wu Guanxiang is searching for a plant. Evodia lepta is often found in the formula for Guangdong herbal tea. Today, Wu Guanxiang is going to make a traditional dish with it. Wu Guanxiang uses a modern tool to juice the plant instead of a mortar, but it doesn't change its bitter yet fresh citrus aroma. He mixes the juice with glutinous rice flour. To his granddaughter, it's like an easy and fun game.
好，唔使咁。
使唔使搽油啊？
唔使啦。
Fresh banana leaves are used to wrap another delicacy. Crushed peanuts and shredded coconut are mixed with sugar as a filling. This is a classic Hakka recipe for mochi.
哇，咁細！哦，有細個啫喎，呢個記住係你㗎。
真係。
唔係咯，所以唔係食咁容易㗎喎。
The Evodia lepta glutinous rice cake and mochi were used to offer ancestors sacrifices and entertain guests.
唔通你食得我整㗎？
幾整啊？
Now in Macau, they can be traced back 1,000 years in the life of the Hakka people. While the family is enjoying their breakfast, the fishing boat has arrived at the bountiful Wanshan fishery. This kind of boat is called a shrimp boat. It has a width of 40 meters with both arms stretching out. It can simultaneously tow 18 fishing nets and specifically catch shrimp and crabs roaming on the seabed.
出海咧唔係工作嘅咁簡單咯。有時你拖網啊，有時睇啲水流啊，唔係個個都可以睇得明嘅，都要教。
Nowadays, young people like Hao Xian rarely return to the sea from the city. The fishery was once a pillar of Macau's economy, with over 2,000 fishing boats in the middle of the last century. But now, there are only about 100 small and large fishing boats. This fresh seafood will be delivered to the fish stalls at the market the next morning.
呢個叫長頸瀨尿蝦，清甜嘅，最好食就係呢啲，或者一啲短爪，我哋叫短爪。呢啲食落去咧有少少鹹味嘅。鹹淡水嘅地方啲魚咧新鮮好多，同埋好味好多。食蟹啊唔會好鹹，好清甜嘅。
Currently, about 40% of the seafood in Macau's market is supplied by local fishing boats. Macau people have various ways to cook seafood. Chefs are familiar with the common green crabs near the Pearl River estuary.
这个是水蟹了，那一按就按进去了。这个呢就是发糕了，不够高的了。
The fish dishes in Heisha village still carry an old-fashioned charm. By repeated and forceful tenderizing, the myosin in the fish's fibers releases and forms colloids. The people of Shunda have been making carp cakes this way for 150 years. Luo Yunda is the organizer of the village banquet. He is proficient in rural cuisine and has mastered authentic Cantonese cooking skills.
葱絲滾油淋落去，再豉油蒸住豉油。
Tonight is the birthday banquet for Luo Yunda and his friends. Nearly 100 guests have joined the occasion. They gather to enjoy delicious food and share a local flavor. At this moment, people's cheers and laughter have imprinted the dining tables with new growth rings. Time is a mirror, continually reflecting the looks when one was young from their travel-stained face. In Macau, a few acres of fields in the flourishing city and a 1,000-year-old waterway prompt people to look back at the city's origin through the dining table. In the old streets and alleys of Macau, sweet soup always takes people back to their respective origins in life. The crispy and sweet water chestnuts will transform into a classic sweet soup in Yao Runlian's hands. And in this process, there is a crucial ingredient.
馬蹄沙咧攪拌咗之後咧，就需要落水，水嘅質素都好重要嘅。
Since the 1960s, Macau has connected its water supply system to Zhuhai, Guangdong. The reservoirs built along the Xijiang River supply about 270,000 tons of clean water daily to Macau, where fresh water is scarce. They've been maintaining the operation of the city, nourishing people's daily life and enriching their food. Sweet soup has long been popular in Guangdong, and Yao Run Lian's sweet soup shop has lived through half a century. No matter how the ingredients change, water is always the base for sweet soup. Before MSG was invented, soup was a wonder-working magic to season food. When the water-soluble protein of meat is dissolved, the stock gets the energy to add flavor to the other ingredients. To cook a simple dish, you can use a few Chinese cabbages growing in Jiangmen, Guangdong. To make a complex dish, you can turn pieces into a whole. The delicious essence of the originally dry and tasteless ingredients is brought out by the meat stock.
一直在做的比较出名的，就是萝卜糕、白粥、油条。我们家的白粥除了米的香味，还有豆的香味。
It was the original idea of Liang Qingyu's grandfather to add dried bean curd sticks to rice congee. When the vegetable protein of dried bean curd sticks is dissolved, the congee gets a mellow flavor and a full-bodied bean aroma. With its rice congee and a few pastries, this small restaurant has been passed down for 100 years.
你知道食物有一种记忆的吗？我们的食客都是吃了这么多年，都习惯了这种味道。年轻人过来的时候，结婚了，带着小孩过来，小孩也长大了，又带着他们的小孩过来，就是一代一代的这样子传过来的。
The growth rings are also imprinted in the daily life of Macau's people. Hatan Market by Pier Number 31 is where Sun Jun Sheng, a retired Cantonese cuisine chef, visits every day.
我都話咧，乜嘢都係有少少秘訣喺度噶嘛，你做邊樣都係嘅。
Every Cantonese cuisine chef has a unique secret recipe. Even making the most common seasoned soy sauce, 100 chefs will create 100 different flavors. % of Macau people speak Cantonese, and most of their ancestors migrated from various parts of Guangdong. The population composition determines that the foundation of Macau's diet must be Cantonese cuisine. Jun Sheng has his own tricks to turn waste into treasure. Stripping the inner layer of a fish's swim bladder requires skill and patience.
醃咗佢之後咧，佢係爽噶啦，即係爽口嘅。
Compared to processing swim bladders, boning duck webs is trickier. Only by cutting them accurately will the right amount of strength can one preserve the integrity of their skin. Simmer the duck webs in stock for 30 minutes to awaken their toughness and elasticity. Then quick fry them with swim bladders and chicken livers for 20 seconds. This dish has retired from the culinary world with Sun Jun Sheng for many years.
係咪唔黐肉啦？係咪啊？冇黐到肉啦嘛？點樣轉換啲菜新做？ 舊派新做，咁都有，但係我都係支持我自己，係咁揸住自己嘅宗旨嚟做。
Sun Jun Sheng is dedicated to the cooking techniques of ancient Cantonese cuisine. Baby croaker or lucid head top spin croaker is less than a palm in length. It challenges the chef's skill in cutting. Sun Junsheng takes the fish meat and layers the thin flesh to increase the fillet width. The addition of sausage and crab meat instantly enriches the flavor. Cooking baby croaker fish rolls requires precise heat control. He has to stir them in oil for 50 seconds and then quick fry them for 8 seconds. The tender and tasty fish rolls allow the new generation of his family to experience the bottom color of Cantonese cuisine in Macau cuisine. Cantonese cuisine chefs have a common feature of being willing to take the time and trouble, evident in Shunde cuisine, which has already gained a foothold in Macau.
用最普通嘅食材，要做到一個最好嘅嘢咧，呢個難度係特別高嘅。
Grass carp, one of the 4 farmed fishes in China, is the most common ingredient in Shunde. The key to cooking grass carp is to remove the fishy smell. Fry the fish to caramelize its surface and lock in the flavor. Then steam it along with seasonings such as scallions and ginger.
柴魚羹咧喺順德咧，其實係一個好傳統嘅菜嚟嘅。
For a long time, owing to its favorable geographical position, many Shunde chefs have gone to Macau to start a career. That's how Shunde cuisine develops and grows in Macau. When Xie Haishan cooks hand-shredded fish soup, he uses an entire carp and grass carp bones to make stock. Mixed with grass carp meat floss, the fresh and thick soup is almost done except for the finishing touch.
其實嗱，柴魚羹嘅即係最點整係乜嘢咧？真係要運用翻啦，順德人最中意嘅咩？攬人啦。
The best olive seeds in China are produced in Zhangcheng, Guangdong. After the mid-autumn day every year, the harvest season for Chinese black olives begins. The cultivation history of Chinese black olives in Xishan has exceeded 400 years. In Dongshan village, every family has mastered climbing trees and picking olives. During the 2-month harvest season, they have to work on the trees for at least 10 hours a day. To process olives, the villagers must keep the water temperature at about 70 degrees Celsius. After being stirred and soaked for 5 minutes, the olive changes from crispy to soft, allowing the easy removal of their kernels. Using a piece of cotton thread tied to the bamboo basket, the villagers open the olives and take their kernels. This skill has been passed down from generation to generation in Dongshan village. The rooftops of many houses in the village are used to dry the olive kernels and flesh. After about 4 days, the villagers will open the kernels by hand to take out their seeds. Now, the olive seeds start to give off a tempting pine nut aroma.
夾埋啲欖仁同個羹一齊食咧，係另外一種嗰種香味咧，先係真真正正出嚟。我師傅成日講嗰幾個字咧，傳承不守舊，創新千萬唔能夠忘本。
啲辣冇搞喎。
Having been soaked in hot water, the olive flesh tastes close to sweet potatoes, not too sweet, but slightly fruity. Dipped in white sugar or ginger soy sauce, it has a simple and tempting local flavor. The olive's flesh, with its kernels removed, is also an essential ingredient. Fill each cap with fine salt, pinch them tightly with your hands, and marinate them. In a few weeks, they'll be a common ingredient in Cantonese cuisine. Cantonese chefs have brought the flavor to Macau.
其實我哋係用翻我哋粵菜嘅手法去加入翻其他地方嘅食材，因為我哋傳統嘅菜，我哋嘅傳統嗰個烹調方法係我哋嘅根嚟。
Shu Wei House improved a unique condiment for steaming fish. It's a traditional Cantonese recipe to fry the mixture of olive flesh and fermented soybeans in oil. But Shu Wei Hao reformed the classic flavor by adding spicy ingredients such as pickled and pod peppers.
攬個蒸魚咧，個魚咧，其實我哋都有首先有選擇嘅。我哋要本身要有油脂多嘅魚啦，因為佢攬角吸收翻魚油，咁佢個香味會更加突出。
The meat of the four-finger threadfin is rich in fat, which brings out the unique flavor of olive and fermented soybeans. Fig leaves are a common ingredient in Macau cuisine. Paired with lotus leaves, they add a fresh, sweet flavor to the fish. Shu Wei Hao created a unique style of cuisine based on traditional Cantonese cuisine, combining classic flavors and local ingredients. The Cameron caught by Macau's fishermen is rich in colloid. Wei Hao mixes it with minced pork, water chestnuts, and olive seeds. He also adds wet olive flesh to combine the different parts of olives again. The trick to getting the food into shape is pig small intestine. It serves as a casing, as well as adding an extra flavor of grease to the food. This dish is inspired by the meat kueh of the Chaoshan area and the traditional sweet and sour pork. The skill draws on the strengths of various cooking methods, carving new growth rings on the dining table of current times, yet still bearing the mark left by the people in the past. On Taipa Island, Macau, there is a shrimp paste shop with a history of 100 years. Now 91-year-old Pan Jan Kung is highly praised by many Cantonese cuisine chefs. His handmade shrimp paste is irreplaceable in people's minds.
人哋用機械，人哋入1000樽，我入100樽。
Pan Jan Kung has always followed the traditional method, mixing new shrimp paste with 6-month shrimp paste at a ratio of 1:1. He stirs the paste repeatedly to create a mellow and original flavor, leaving a lingering memory on the dining table in Macau. Pork belly cooked with shrimp paste is a home-cooked dish many Macau people love. The mellow shrimp sauce, going with the refreshing Huadiao wine, gives a new flavor to the pork. Now, shrimp paste made with a time-honored method has followed famous Cantonese cuisine chefs to Beijing. A sea snail weighing around 800 grams can only yield 200 grams of meat. Cut the sea snail meat into thin slices no more than 2 millimeters. Pre-cook the slices in clear chicken soup before stir-frying it with the shrimp sauce. Hot oil and ginger juice weaken the peculiar taste of the shrimp paste while activating its flavor. The new era allows Macau flavor to travel thousands of miles and carve growth rings on distant dining tables.
100幾十年都傳到落嚟，係咁做，冇秘方嘅，個個識嘅。你唔易唔繁複嘅，可以做。我哋讀到小學畢業，世界第2次大戰啊嘛，全部中學、大學全部停頓噶嘛。咁得到結束咗世界大戰，我已經15、16歲，你哋點入中學咧？點讀咧？
Recalling the past, Pan Jian Kung's eyes are still bright and shining, looking back on his younger years. At 6 a.m., the meat stalls in Macau become noisy. Truckloads of fresh pork from the Chinese mainland arrive in succession.
佢要求一定有新鮮，隔夜都唔攞我哋㗎，一定要即刻拆到就交俾佢。個要求咧，前甲又腍又滑，唔攞後髀。我中意配合碌麵。
As usual, Luo Jinpei leaves the best pork to a regular customer. This simple and unsophisticated shop hidden deep in a small street has no signboard, but it is still a culinary shrine in the minds of Macau's people.
我諗我喺度揸住把刀耐過我老豆。
It has been over 50 years since Mai Lin started the business with his father at the age of 14. He has never changed his habit of using front shoulder meat rich in intramuscular fat to make roast pork.
咁佢始終都有人會諗住自己創造一種新嘅方式㗎嘛。即係我哋又好似唔會諗你嗰種創新嘅方式，咪所以咪即係維持到咯。
The recipe for marinating pork with sugar, salt, alcohol, sesame sauce, soy sauce, etc. is known throughout the industry. The daily routine in the small shop has never changed, but the roast pork in this store has a magical flavour that tempts people to queue up more than an hour ahead of schedule in the scorching sun.
爸爸妈妈带我过来这边去过一次，然后就忘不了，大概吃了30年了。
澳門係好狹窄嘅地區嚟㗎，有好多時都係幾十年光陰啦，走來走去都係同。佢有講俾我哋聽啊，佢已經話我哋已經係幫襯你第3代。
Roast pork, a favourite among the people of Macau, is also a growth ring engraved deeply in the dining table. No matter how it is roasted, the process is all about the interaction between a charcoal fire and the pork. Experienced chefs always pay attention to the state of the meat and fire. They know the ropes about when to turn off the heat and when to increase it.
你唔能夠控制火就即係唔得深入去了解嗰個問題。
When the pork seems almost done, the chef increases the heat to caramelize it. Take out the roast pork and dip it in melted maltose sugar quickly. At this point, the time-tested sweet and savoury delicacy is finally completed.
咁有好多人認為我哋做嗰樣嘢係即係秘笈，根本就冇秘笈，只能夠你熟能生巧嘅啫。
At 11:30 a.m., the small shop opens on time. Mai Lin and his wife switch quickly to combat mode. They only sell smoked trotters, roast pork and soy sauce chicken. The menu is a single or combination of the 3 dishes, plus 4 pots of rice never altered under any circumstances. They close when all the food is sold out.
即係你見我哋做又好似3個鐘頭，但係背後我哋搞好多嘅。
When Mai Lin smacks the chopping board with his knife, he is thinking about where to cut from. The clank has become his personalized way of selling.
我中我幾多？你話我啫。叉燒飯啊，等下嚇，等下。
If you want to know whether the job is unpleasant, you can find the answer on the hostess's face.
分幾個名，我老豆叫我分，好多以為我老婆叫我分。佢3個叉題啊嘛。3個分題叉。但係3個，嗱再嚟，嗱呢沓俾後邊你講佢先。
In the tinkling of the kitchen knife, 3 hours fly by quickly every day.
我哋兩個執順咗隻手嘛，即係知道佢要乜嘢，我要乜嘢。
如果講姻緣關係就係唔定咯。如果倘若你揾啱一個老婆係去打麻雀，你自己都可以講得係倒霉，係咪咁講？
講你自己講。
即係倒霉咯，我哋叫做咯。如果你揾啱個老婆係冇嗰樣嘢，你咪 OK 咯，即係咁樣咯。
The small shop is decorated with many old objects collected by Mai Lin. In this small world, they carry the past, reflecting the growth rings on the table.
歷史係注定一生人嘅開始，冇歷史就係冇人生嘅。而家我已經過咗半百歲人啦，已經係變咗成歷史咯。
In Macau, history doesn't mean old and out of date, but rather the foundation for flavour inheritance.
嗰度雞仔髀，嗰個合桃酥，嗰隻鮑魚酥，鮑魚酥又好食㗎，但係佢話冇鮑魚喎，不過個形狀就似鮑魚，所以就叫做鮑魚酥，佢又一層一層嘅，就係好食落就好粗快嘅。
Dim sum and pastries are famous souvenirs of Macau. This is a pastry shop with a history of 120 years. It still adheres to the old tradition of handcrafting, but surprisingly, its owner is a young man.
我选大学的时候还在想我可能想做工程师或者做医生。有一个姑姑突然跟我说，你不传承这一家店，就没有人传承了。突然，我的世界就多了一个出路，就是多了一条路，就是我一定要回来去做这个饼。
Gao Ziqi is the only one who can make the oldest biscuit in his shop. The most crucial skill for making this biscuit is kneading the dough. The dough should be kneaded appropriately for 5 minutes or less to prevent losing its soft and spongy texture. Therefore, it requires sufficient strength and experience.
我刚2018年开始接手的时候，有一段时间就是想说，为什么要回来做？就是我们店里因为比较老旧，不可以装冷气，暑假的时候40多度，很辛苦啊。做久了就会习惯了，而且你一定要坚持下去，才可以传承这个手业吧。
Macau fishermen always kept light cake biscuits handy while fishing at sea in the past. They may seem plain, but it's not easy to make it fluffy and crispy.
我做出来的饼有很多客人都说，这饼真的比其他家都好吃，那就给我一种动力，然后 好像一种赞美一样，就是我做到了。
Based on tradition, Macau's dim sum and pastries have also moved forward in the new era. Producing 300,000 almond cakes per day and having developed 300 different products, this bakery accounts for 70% of the market share in Macau, mirroring the city's development most intuitively. In Macau, with its hurried pace, there are always people constantly adjusting their pace to catch up with the new rhythm of the city.
肝膽相照，攬住摔角，活在當下，心滿意足。酒逢知己，一生何求？我就是肥仔蝦。
As a swordsman, he must have a handy sword. The big meal bun serves as a container filled with spicy and pungent curry beef. Fatty Swordsman never follows a routine, and he calls his unique style of dish whimsical dish.
我说呀，我这个中餐馆怎么上了西餐的面包了？
其实我是做西餐不过菜的，我西餐不过菜的厨师，但是是啊，是我们学西餐的时候，西餐的咖喱，一道是澳门的葡国咖喱。
Fatty Swordsman started his career in Portuguese cuisine in 1981. In 1985, he started to cook Cantonese cuisine.
如果展示什么特别的东西，那个胖子老板可以趁速做给他们。
花雕醉虾可以吃啦。
那你肥仔虾是怎么来的？
不胖不胖，
你胖啊，虾呢？
我工钱这样的家。 英雄的英，大侠的侠。
啊，张英侠。
张英侠。
肥仔侠。
After Macau's return, tourists swarmed to the island. Zhang Yingxia and his whimsical dish soon became internet celebrities.
你看那个西餐葡国菜啊，来来去去到自己的，自己捡不到东，自己一点点东西。 但是粤菜变化很大，再结合我的西餐葡国餐下去。
Zhang Yingxia is ready to challenge a famous Cantonese dish, soup simmered inside a wax gourd. Naturally, he uses his unique weapon, stuff the cabbage into the wax gourd. The filling combination of dried shrimp, pork ribs and dried oysters is an inspiration from Yingxia's years of experience in blending flavors.
整个地呱呱叫，一种菜就是哇哇菜，小孩子、老人家都可以吃。那呱呱两个呱一个哇就呱呱叫，特别开心。所以今天啊，我炒的菜啊，应该更好味道啊。客人见到你开心。 他才满意，才开心。
With the presence of Fatty Swordsman, the endless time will always be engraved with happy growth rings.
我们从来都不会写下来的，好像就是你不能忘记的一样东西，也不能够告诉人家的一个东西，是挺特别的，对。
The thing Chen Wei-lung referred to was the Xiao Mei skill that he inherited from the elders of his family. Xiao Mei is also a flavor connecting Macau with the Chinese mainland. With modern technology, a workshop can maintain a stable supply of cured meat throughout the year. As the Chinese New Year approaches, demand soars. This factory produces 3 tons of cured meat daily, supplying 70% of Macau's restaurants. The duck roasting craft handed down to Chen Wei-liang exudes the unconventional temperament of Macau. The family's secret spices are paired with high-quality black pepper. The collision of Chinese and Western styles create a wonderful flavor.
这个手艺从我太爷在信会里边就已经开始摆摊。我爷爷在澳门呢是当担挑在街上叫卖的，就是靠这个手艺来生活来吃饭嘛。
Unlike some roast meat that is colored by soy sauce, the color on the duck skin comes solely from the Maillard reaction between sugar and fire. After roasting, the ducks get a purplish red and give off a faint pungent aroma. These delicious roast ducks will be delivered within 10 minutes to ensure the crispness of the skin and the abundance of juice in the meat.
还有一些老的客户、老朋友跟我说，你调料的时候有些多，有些少，客人都会吃出来。为什么今天咸呢？为什么今天甜的不得了？好像味道太浓了吧？都会说。
In the new era, people across the country meet by chance. Flavors from all over the country have carved new growth rings on people's dining tables.
坐着不如躺着，好吃还得饺子。
Dumplings from the north are also agreeing with the environment in Macau. Moreover, they become more exquisite in a competitive arena. This culinary trend was started by immigrants 15 years ago.
糖醋小排。
你試一試啊！你試一試。我哋啲排骨咧，好似比較大咗啲啊，阿華哥。哦。 自己是上海人，是湖州人，所以我父亲就特别想做一个就是家乡的菜，也是希望把那个上海我们家乡、我们上海的文化带到澳门。
上海这个行为就是要浓油赤酱。
Since 2006, the restaurant has continued promoting Shanghai cuisine. Egg smoked by tea leaves is classic Shanghai food that is rare to see even in Shanghai today.
一般来说，家里现在都不会做花那么多时间去做，但是我们餐厅最希望是带动澳门市民去认识到上海是什么一个文化。
The cook's ingenuity is evident in the soft yolk, and this is just the prelude. Braised pork trotters in brown sauce are the grand finale of the dinner on Lunar New Year's Eve in Shanghai, which is also a masterpiece of thick oil and soy sauce. In seasoning, thick soy sauce instead of thin soy sauce is used, underlying the pursuit of deep color. Thicken the dish with the collagen-rich pork stock to create a stunning touch. The soft, glutinous and luscious trotter engraves an indelible growth ring on the dining tables of the Macau people. Regardless of the weather, Tan Guofeng often stands by the entrance of the hotel's warehouse, waiting for a new batch of ingredients to arrive. He has not altered his way in the 15 years since he came to Macau.
我覺得身為中餐嘅廚師，其實最重要都仲係要承傳或者保留返我哋粵菜或者中餐嘅一啲老嘅味道。
In Tan Guofeng's view, it is also a heritage to continue the tradition of Cantonese cuisine based on Chinese and foreign ingredients, and even to restore ancient Cantonese cuisine using modern ingredients and skills. Tan Guofeng takes out an ingredient he found by chance to prepare a famous ancient dish.
澳門呢個地方，無論喺食材嘅取材嘅方便啦，
飲食文化嘅多樣性啦，嘅叫做包容性啦，都比較大。
This is dried grouper skin. It's so rare that its value is inestimable. At the age of 17, Tan Guofeng was already able to soak dry ingredients for 100 banquets. He has mastered the skills of soaking dry ingredients.
要靜落嚟，唔可以心急，要令到佢自然去浸發。凍水、熱水嘅交替去泡法咧，膠質可以保存得更加好。
Starting from this fish skin, Tan Guofeng is about to unfold a picture scroll depicting delicious food. Inspired by the disappeared dish, Kunlun abalone and grouper skin stew, he brilliantly exerts the Cantonese cuisine skill to add flavor to the recipe using stock. He cooks soup with soaked dry abalone, slowly awakening the hidden fresh flavor of the grouper skin. He integrates land and sea ingredients in one plate per the Western serving style. The sinewy and smooth deer tendon, ordinary pomelo skin, and Japanese kelp are all seasoned with ingenious flavoring methods, respectively. If delicacies need to be defined, Tan Guofeng's answer will be perfection. He would rather persistently pursue the superior flavor in the world than choose an easy way.
我覺得復原呢一道老菜，其實對於美食係個技術嘅傳承。
Every day in Macau, numerous young people are pursuing their dreams. They were born in Macau and have been watching the historical growth rings of this small city since childhood. One day, the 1,000-year waterway that is no longer noisy, or the century-old street that is still bustling will fill their minds with a myriad of thoughts about the dining table. Bury a seed of homesickness, harvest a shady tree. The vigor of style engraved by history will also bear the expectations for a bright future.